She was back in the district at this event. We tried again.
I also wanted to ask you about the investigation into your families, but this is also part of her congressional duties. Congresswoman, you know, you're under investigation for the congressional ethics for violation of campaign finances. Congresswoman, this is your district. You have to answer to these people. Congresswoman.
Attorneys for her family's healthcare company aren't answering the I-Team's questions either. And the Department of Emergency Management says they won't comment on ongoing litigation, leaving taxpayers and her constituents wondering what happened to those millions.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's cooked. This black Congresswoman, Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick, fancy name, has been indicted. This lady is accused of stealing FEMA funds. Okay, like these people who love to advocate for the little people, say we need to put more funds into FEMA. Well, there's a reason for it. It's because they benefit from it. It's because they're stealing the money. Hey, we don't want to fund USAID. We don't want to fund, or we don't want to defund USAID. We don't want to defund FEMA. There's a reason why they say these things. Is because time and time again, and I've done plenty of stories on this channel about how there is money laundering schemes. These are just the obvious ones that are provable, but there's tons of them. And unfortunately speaking, this is just another example. And this woman got caught red-handed. Now she's been federally indicted. You saw her running away looking like a track star, like we on the Maury show or something, except instead of running away from baby daddy reality, now she got somebody running away from their responsibilities as a congresswoman and answering to their constituents. Without further ado, let's go ahead and react to this. By the way, guys, there's a new feature on YouTube where you can hype videos. So be sure to like the video, hype the video. It helps out a lot. Appreciate you.
Right now at 11, we begin with breaking news. South Florida Congresswoman Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick facing alarming allegations tonight.
Cherfilus-McCormick, who represents parts of Broward and Palm Beach counties, is being charged with stealing millions of dollars from FEMA. She's also accused of using some of that money to help her political campaign back in 2021. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lauren Pastrana.
And I'm Elliot Rodriguez. CBS News Miami's Abby Dodge is joining us live from outside the U.S. Attorney's Office in Miami with more details. Abby?
Well, this is just the latest legal battle that the Congresswoman has found herself wrapped up in. A former federal prosecutor tells me there is much more information that the public needs to see.
Okay.
46-year-old Democratic Representative Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick from Miramar is now facing several charges related to her family's healthcare company. The indictment says the charges stem from a $5 million FEMA overpayment back in 2021. It alleges the Congresswoman, family members, and business associates stole extra funds and ran them through multiple sources to disguise the source, then used some of that money to help finance her 2021 congressional campaign. Former federal prosecutor David Weinstein says more details about the representative's alleged role and how it may relate to other COVID relief cases will become clearer once the full indictment is released.
Certainly, the more the facts come out, the better we'll be able to gauge whether or not there was any misconduct.
Weinstein says cases involving the misuse of COVID-19 funding are similar to the Medicare and bank fraud crises of the past.
What happens is that these dollars go out, and when they're being sent out, nobody's really paying attention to who applied for them, why they applied for them, and it's not until afterwards when they start doing accounting and they figure out that they've misappropriated these funds that they then try to turn it around.
In Cherfilus-McCormick.
This is, before we continue, I just want to say that I blame the government for the way that they divvy out the money, right? Like going back to the PPE loans with COVID, they just were sending money everywhere, and there was countless cases of fraud that occurred. And I do feel like you need to have some sort of checks and balances. Obviously, people are going to fraudulently put in paperwork, but there should be some sort of check. Like the saying in auditing is trust but verify. You don't just have people say some information, you don't validate anything, and then just give out the money, and then years later you want to come talking about some indictments. While I do think it's up to the people to be responsible and not lie on their applications, it's also your responsibility as some sort of lender of any kind to verify the information that people are giving you, and not just wait till years later like, well, you know, you lied, so we're sending you to jail.
Next case, there are also charges related to her tax filings. The indictment says the Congresswoman and her tax preparer falsely claimed political spending and other personal expenses as business deductions and inflated charitable contributions to reduce her tax obligations. The U.S. Attorney General called the representative's actions a selfish and cynical crime.
Damn.
Now, the Congresswoman could face up to 53 years in prison if convicted, and she is now in Washington, D.C., hopefully making her way back to South Florida to face a judge sometime before Monday at the latest. We have reached out to her and her team and are waiting to hear back. Live in Miami, Abby Dodge, CBS.
I mean, let's keep it a buck. I mean, this lady, even if convicted, which we don't know all the facts, so we don't know if she will be convicted, but even if she is, I mean, 53 years, I just can't see that happening. In this woke society, I know they said this is out in Florida, but that doesn't mean that, whoever ends up being a judge that adjudicates this or, whatever type of sentencing she might get, that doesn't mean that they're going to just throw the book at her, because that would probably be pretty insane to give her 53 years. What they would probably do is, even if, let's say, hypothetically, she got that, because there's multiple charges here, it would probably be like consecutive. So they would like trim it down, saying like you serving your time for each different crime at the same time. So they'll probably trim it down tremendously. And they certainly wouldn't give the maximum amount for each, even if found guilty. But guys, this is just another example of why I do not trust Democrats, the people who will sit up here and hoot and holler and scream, no, you cannot cut this funding. These people always say that about everything. They say you can't cut any funding, and it's because you're cutting their funding. It's not because they're cutting your funding. It's because you're cutting their funding. They don't want their lifeline to be cut, whatever money laundering, whatever business they're trying to invest in, whatever investments they have. They know that if you start cutting funding, if you start looking under all of the rocks and dotting the I's and crossing the T's, that you are going to uncover the truth. And they can't handle the truth. They know that you can't handle the truth, that all along they were using things like racism and, misogyny and all of these stupid things that they love to continually bring up over and over again. They were using that to get you to donate your votes, your money, your time, your energy. They're using all of your trauma against you and all of these buzzwords and all of these woke things against you so that they can inevitably profit and benefit themselves. It's all the same trick. This is not new. This is old stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of people are just now realizing it, and there's millions more who don't realize it, who are still going to support this type of nonsense. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see what actually happens in the courts. Presuming that this person is guilty, then I absolutely think they need to suffer. They need to deal with whatever consequence occurs. Now, if they're not, then, maybe not. But I'll tell you one thing right now, it sure as hell is not looking good. But these are just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you guys watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out. Big shout out to my members, 655, Cat 3309, and Noodle. Could not do it without you.
As your Congresswoman, I will fight the special interest so you can start receiving $1,000 a month.
They know it's a lie.